Welcome back to Sports Talk, ATL's College Football Gambling Locks Week 11. Another huge slate of games following one of the best weekends of college football we've had all year. We were very close to having a ton of big upsets. There weren't all that I called. I think I picked 11 out of 12 dogs. Some of those were ugly. Arizona State. I mean, come on. What am I doing? Betting against Utah against Arizona State coming off a loss. What am I thinking? Virginia Tech. Oh, you're gross. You guys are on the no bet list anymore. But big game, we're going to start on Friday with North Texas and SMU. Cool. Nice. Wyoming and UNLV.
It's a good game, actually.
Yeah, UNLV.
Some of us have Wyoming 12-1 to win the Mountain West and really need that. So go Pokes.
We got Tulsa and Tulane. All right, let's get into the SEC here. South Carolina and Vanderbilt.
This feels like a must-win for South Carolina. Shane Beamer might get fired if they don't win this game.
I don't see Beamer being on the hot seat at all.
Why is the public betting Vanderbilt?
I see it the opposite way. I see 65 on South Carolina.
Interesting. Then it's a no bet for me.
But no one has anything. We get into the first kind of critical matchup here. Kentucky hosting Alabama. Sleepy spot against a feisty Kentucky team. It really kind of, I think it's going to come down to how you feel, how Alabama responds. Obviously, they just won probably the biggest game of the year against LSU. And then the week before that was the biggest game of the year, or 2 weeks. They had a bye in between with Tennessee, 2 huge wins. But kind of feels like Alabama should have their nose down, knowing that, hey, we got to, 1, make an impression on the College Football Playoff Committee. And 2, we got to win out to get to the SEC championship and have that matchup with Georgia or, Tennessee if somehow Georgia loses this week.
Yeah, you just said a lot of words to put into. I'm betting Alabama -10. I got them at -10. I'll take -10.5, whatever they're winning this game.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you said that's really important, especially nowadays gambling, is how you win matters just as much as winning, especially with, the human element in the committee. I'm also going Bama -10.5. I just think, it's kind of time, all the Nick Saban doubters, and there were many preseason, even, when they made the switch from Jalen Milroe, USF. I mean, everybody was talking about a declining empire. Hell, I was too. But now it seems like, Bama could win a national championship as well as anybody else. So I'm all over 10.5.
Yeah, it looks too easy here, doesn't it? Which is kind of the concern. Leary's played pretty well for Kentucky the last 2 weeks after being a little shaky. So I don't know if that means anything. It's probably Bama or pass. Yeah.
I want to say one more thing, that Bama's defense, it would be the best defense in the country if they were playing Ohio State or Michigan's schedule. Like, they would be right there. I mean, their defense is absolutely sick, especially in the second half. If you go look at their second half giving up points, I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. Against Ole Miss, LSU, 2 very good offenses. Unbelievable. They have a great defense, and Kentucky wants to run the ball. Bama prides themselves. Nick Saban, smash mouth football, not on us. So I love Bama a lot this week.
I'm going to take Alabama, but I'm going to do it cautiously. It's not something I'm going to sit up here. I'm going to take them. I'm going to put it in as a lock. But I wouldn't be shocked if this is a close game that comes down to the wire. I just think styles make fights. I do think Alabama's offense is getting a little more love than they should. They had a really good second half against Tennessee, but Tennessee's defense isn't anything to write home about. And LSU's defense is the worst in probably the country right now. And that includes like some really bad FBS schools. It's that bad. So I'm interested to see how Milroe responds and if the game plan is better for Kentucky, who has a much better defense than they faced in recent weeks. Illinois and Indiana. Texas Tech and Kansas.
The public's betting Texas Tech, I saw, and I just really like Kansas and Leipold. I'm not betting Kansas. I just think Kansas is like a good spot to bet every week because I think he gets them right and ready to play. We saw it against Iowa State last week. Everyone was taking the spot with Iowa State, and Kansas won that game pretty convincingly by more than 7. It felt like by more than 7. So I would lean Kansas there.
Maryland and Nebraska. Maryland is on the get the hell out of my face list.
believe they've lost 4 in a row. If not
That's
4 in a row,
crazy.
3 in a row.
They just needed to win 1 of Illinois and Nebraska and Northwestern to keep kind of our win total alive, and
Couldn't do it.
lose both. That's brutal.
What was that?
6.5.
It was 7.
Yeah.
That's
How do you not win 7
jeopardy.
games with that schedule? Come on, man.
Temple at South Florida.
Temple had 4 turnovers last week and still beat Navy by 2 touchdowns, if that means anything important.
Clemson and Georgia Tech. This is an intriguing little matchup of 5 and 4 teams, but
Georgia Tech's probably the right side here, but I'm going to pass on this.
I think the opposite. My heart says Georgia Tech. They've been I think I'm 4-1. They've covered 4. I've only lost 1, and that was against Bowling Green. Very embarrassing. I won Clemson last week. I think Clemson is still, maybe the best 5-4 football team of all time. They're a good football team in terms of talent. We're talking about the best 5-4 football team of all time. But I'm betting with my heart on this one. Go Yakets.
It might be Clemson for me. Not yet. But they might
Virginia Tech and Boston College. Virginia Tech's on the shit list.
This would have been a lit matchup in like 2008.
2007, 2008. This is a great game.
Yeah, Boston College
4 on the road. Virginia Tech is a favorite here. Interesting. There you go, Army and Holy Cross. Nothing on that. All right, game of the week. Michigan travels to Penn State.
Yeah, fishy line, but give me Michigan -5 here. I just have no faith in Penn State anymore. I said it at the beginning of the year. If they were ever going to take down Ohio State and Michigan, it was going to be this season. They don't look ready to do it. I don't think their offense is going to be up to snuff, and I think Michigan will do enough offensively to cover 5. This is also probably a good spot for the under.
I got this at 5.5 earlier in the week, and for all the things that Jake said, I agree. I agree with him 100%. But this just feels like one of those games that Penn State plays their absolute heart outs. This is their Super Bowl. This is the only way they could potentially I don't even know if they could still get into the Big Ten championship. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe they can. It just feels like this is their Super Bowl. Michigan's got a lot of noise surrounding them. Jim Harbaugh seems like a kind of guy who could probably, shut out the noise, but they got a lot of noise surrounding that program. Maybe they come out with their hair on fire, proving, fuck you guys. We don't need a cheat sheet to beat the shit out of our, rivals. So I don't see this one too clearly, but I'm going to go, against the grain and get the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, I agree with that. Penn State, we think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Whoever said the unders is probably right. I think it's a lower-scoring game. So I'll take the points there. Penn State defense, the defensive line has been really good. They're really good against the run. And this is by far the hardest game Michigan's played on the road. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Yeah. They're going to have to prove it to me first. Penn State's also getting Chop Robinson back, who is their best defensive lineman, first-round pick potential kind of guy. And I think they're going to come loaded and ready to play. I hate trusting James Franklin, but I do think
I hate that.
Michigan. I think Penn State's the right side. I do at home, so I'll take the 5.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to bet. I'm gonna take this game as well. I'm gonna go with Jake though. I'm gonna go with Michigan. I don't think it's another one where I think Penn State. I agree with everything you're saying, but I've watched too much Penn State. I don't trust their offense. I don't think they're going to be able to score in this game. Yeah. I think Michigan's going to have enough opportunities. I think JJ McCarthy can make enough plays to put 21-28 on the board. I think Michigan's going to force some turnovers. That's how this game went last time. They got a few big turnovers and it was out of hand by halftime. So I just don't trust. I don't believe in Penn State as anywhere close to a top 10 team. I do think they have one of the best atmospheres in all of college football. I don't care that this is a noon game. This is going to be crazy, especially with all the Michigan stuff going on. It's going to be a hostile as it gets atmosphere. I think that's the one thing that kind of scares me. But I still think Michigan plays with a chip on their shoulder. I think they have a 10 times better quarterback. And in a low-scoring game, if they can score a couple touchdowns, it can feel like it's a blowout, even though it's like a 10-point lead.
I think if you go Penn State – go ahead, Jake.
No, I was going to say, and if you take the under here, I feel like that's even a little bit of a hedge against Michigan 5 because I don't see a world where this goes over and Penn State wins.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'd say if you like Michigan, take the over. If you like Penn State, take the under. I think
Michigan and the under are a good pair. I think this game, either way, I think it's a good hedge against either way. Yeah. But I still think you can go under Michigan.
It's a show me game for Michigan. Put the doubters to rest. If they come out and win, play well in this game and win, and everyone shuts up about your schedule.
Yeah.
Liberty and ODU. I don't know why I haven't been hammering Liberty all year. I was doing it like the first 3 weeks, and for some reason I just forgot about them, and they're just sitting here 7-2 against the spread. No. Memphis and Charlotte.
Memphis win total this week, maybe.
Could be the week.
My favorite bet on the board this week, Arizona -10.5 against Colorado. Now I've faded Colorado the last 2 weeks. They haven't covered either of them. Eventually, they're not going to cover one of these spreads, and Arizona's my darling. They're just a wagon.
I will be taking Arizona as well. Jed Fish has them playing really well. They are 8-1 against the spread. Here's the thing: is Colorado is starting to become the paper tiger that I thought they were going to be this season. You got Dion calling out his offensive lineman for the sake of his son, kind of making an ass of himself, if we're being honest. Arizona is a team that is headed in. Arizona is a team that is completely going in the other direction. Well, they suck. Their transfers that he brought in. Now he's just going to sit there and thrash him to the media to save his own son's ego.
It was his decision, and it's a gutless thing to throw your players under the bus. But he is calling a spade a spade. They fucking suck. They're so bad. Well,
it's to protect his own son's ego. And if you think that's going over well in the locker room, I'm going to go ahead. I got a bridge to tell you. Arizona now, I believe, is heading in the complete opposite direction. Those kids are buying into what Jed Fish is selling. They're a team that is playing well, getting hot at the right time. I think Arizona whomps them.
It's probably Jed Fish's last year in Tucson before he gets scooped up somewhere else. Colorado also, for the record, is like a really bad unnecessary roughness penalty for Colorado State, and then a missed Arizona State field goal away from being 2-7. I mean, that's who this team truly is.
What everybody thought, though. I mean, like everybody.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah,
they are who we thought they were. Yeah.
I'm kind of sad we don't get like Arizona versus Oregon.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if Arizona had benched Jaden DeLore to start the year, this team could be
they would be undefeated.
How is that possible? How is that even possible? Like that you go all spring and you start the wrong guy.
Jaden DeLore is not that bad. I mean, some guys are just better in practice.
He's just too turnover prone. This guy's the same. He's basically Jaden DeLore without turnovers, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the name of the game. I mean,
there you go.
Desmond Ritter would be Patrick Mahomes if he didn't turn over the football. I mean,
Troy and ULM, Connecticut and JMU.
I'm taking the cheese here. I'm taking James Madison. Connecticut is a bad football team, and James Madison. Here's the thing with James Madison, is you can say they don't have anything to play for, but they're still petitioning the NCAA to go to a bowl game this year. And it seems like they're just getting a little bit of steam behind that. These kids are going to keep playing as hard as they can. They truly believe if they go undefeated, they can have a special season. And I agree, they're a good football team. If you watched them this year, Georgia Southern's second in that division, and they whooped their asses. I mean, they are just a class above a lot of teams. I don't care that UConn is, a bit more of a high-profile program, I guess you would say. I think JMU is going to take them to the shed at home. That is a school that is really rallying around this football team. I think they give UConn all they can handle. I have JMU -24.
It might be a basketball school. Just because they might be a basketball school too.
Yeah, they also just beat Michigan State in basketball.
I think that not getting a bowl game could benefit you and JMU bettors even more. That those kids want to just win out and be like, "Fuck you, NCAA." And rightfully so. Terrible, dumb.
That is one of the worst rules, and the rationale doesn't even make sense to me, which I think is even more stupid. But
let's go NC State and Wake Forest.
Watch out, careful here. That's all I gotta say. Careful.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
App State and Georgia State.
I'm going Georgia State. They were -2, and I ended up just taking their money line -130. They are a really good running team. App State is bottom 15 in FBS in almost every rushing category when it comes to defense. And their last 5 games for App State, like we talked about Coastal not having that shine. App State really does not have that shine. Their last 5 games have been really underwhelming. They've almost lost outright as a 17-point favorite. They just play very underwhelming football. I think Georgia State should run all over them, and the market tends to agree because this line's moved towards Georgia State. So I just took a little money line.
All right, Nevada and Utah State. Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech.
No.
Baylor and Kansas State.
Kind of like Kansas State, and as much as I hate it, Dave Aranda and Baylor just don't. They look like a lifeless program. I saw people talking about firing Dave Aranda. Well, fire Dave Aranda. We take him back at LSU in a fucking heartbeat. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, Kansas State's a really good football team. I know they have a couple of losses, and their ranking doesn't show as good as they really are. They're a top 15 team in the country.
I got to say, Kansas State, it's sitting at 6-3 with 6-3 against the spread. They are a team that the record says who they are.
I like Kansas State here.
Big matchup in the Pac-12, Washington and Utah. Washington getting -9.5. I'm going to go back.
Vegas
I'm
is
going to go.
begging you to take Utah right here with a spread that big with a Washington team that has not been that impressive the past couple of weeks.
I am taking Utah, and I called the Utah-Oregon game right, and I feel I would call the future Pac-12 championship Oregon, Washington very well again. Washington is not a well-rounded football team, and if Utah plays a bad defense, they're going to hang in it. And Oregon was a very good defense, and they dominated them in all facets. Utah's got a very physical defense, maybe slow. I don't even care if they slow Michael Penix down. They'll be able to score points on Washington's defense. That's why I like Utah.
I don't know if I can bet it. I was going to say Utah, but
I just don't like fading Utah.
I would
like Utah a lot.
I would lean Utah because of the way Washington's played. I mean, I don't know if they've had what, maybe like 1 10-point win, and that was against USC in a game.
They might be the worst undefeated team in the nation.
Back and forth.
Including JMU.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
They play Oregon State next week too. Really big game. Like they're not going to overlook Utah or anything, but they've got a tough stretch here.
Yeah, they do.
Minnesota and Purdue.
This is the most careful I've ever given out on this show. Probably. Holy shit! A 1.5 point 2-7 team favorite over a 5-4 team. I've never given up big careful on this one.
Walk with me here, okay? Minnesota has Ohio State next week. Purdue is an easy overlook because you see 2-7. Purdue sucks, whatever, and they do. But this Minnesota offense is atrocious. Callie McManus, who there was some hype for him early in the season, he's been horrible and he's not accurate at all. I think he's at 53% with his accuracy, which really benefits the Purdue defense because the Purdue defense weakness is secondary. He's not going to be able to attack the secondary like that. Minnesota also very rush heavy on offense, and the strength of the Purdue defense is stopping the run. They can generate pressure. Their defensive line's been all right. Purdue is not as bad as 2-7. They've been super unlucky. They've missed a ton of field goals. And they've also played one of the hardest schedules in the country. Michigan, Ohio State. They haven't played any of the bottom feeders in their conference, and they've only played one non-Power 5 team, and it was Fresno, who's 8-1. It's like this Purdue team has played a tough schedule. I think they're on the field. They're as good as Minnesota, and the line is moving heavily towards Purdue. I think it's probably the right side, so I'm gonna plug my nose. It's disgusting, but I'll take Purdue.
It is gross, but so gross. That is.
And I will be regretting this when they're down 14-0 in the first quarter. So.
Yeah, that's definitely one that you just don't watch. You just you close your eyes and you just say, "I hope I came out on the right side of that."
Gross.
Tennessee and Missouri.
I'm taking Missouri money line, but I'll take the 1.5. I don't know why Missouri is an underdog as a home underdog in this game. I kind of hate how much I like this. I think they actually opened. As favorites, but
it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah. Missouri, I think, is a team that is not going to be too discouraged by that Georgia loss. They competed in that game. They still have a lot to play for, especially considering Georgia, who is playing after them. If they lose to Ole Miss, they are not technically out of the SEC East picture, because if they win this game and then Tennessee beats Georgia, I think that would send Missouri to Atlanta. It's convoluted, but there is a path there for them at least. So this is a team that I do not think has given up. They're better than Tennessee. I'm going to go ahead and say Missouri money line.
Yeah, I love Missouri too. They have nothing to hold their heads about against that Georgia team, who we all think is a national championship contender. One Nazir Stackhouse should have been a pick six away from potentially, making it a game. And Tennessee is maybe the most, not unreliable, but you just can't predict what Tennessee team shows up. I mean, Joe Milton looks like ass, or he looks like, the second coming of Jesus. That first half against Bama, I was like, wow, that's the Joe Milton everybody was talking about. And then second half, you were like, oh, never mind, he's back. So, and Tennessee's defense is ass. I mean, ass. So I love Mizzou here too, and I'll take the 1.5. But I also agree with Jake about, if you want some actual juice, I mean, take the money line.
I'm probably not going to play this game. I'm looking forward to watching it. Tennessee
should be a great one to watch.
It should be a really good game. I'm very excited for it. Tennessee's kind of had Missouri's number. I know the teams have been different the last 2 years, but 66-24 and 62-24 the last two meetings for Tennessee. There's also this little kind of, and I don't know if I'm overlooking this or not, but like almost a post-Georgia hangover with teams where they come back and they kind of find it hard the next week. Florida saw it, Kentucky saw it, Auburn saw it, and I wonder if Missouri just comes out a little flat almost. But I don't know. It's a good game. I'm going to stay away from.
And you could also flip that coin on its head and
Tennessee,
say that Tennessee
ahead.
has Georgia next week.
Exactly.
So
there you go.
A
Huge look ahead. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't think this is that much of a look ahead spot because the same way that you just said,
it's a big game.
Tennessee or Missouri has a chance to go to the SEC championship. Tennessee's is right there. They don't need any help from anybody.
Absolutely.
They go and beat Missouri, and then they go and beat Georgia. They're going to go into Atlanta, and I know they know what's ahead of them in Georgia at home. But they're not going to overlook Missouri. Like you said, I actually like Tennessee in the game more just because I think they're the more talented team. And I think they find a way to get it done. Now, do I love betting? A lot of these bets I don't love betting that I've said. But I do think Tennessee is going to win this game. And I think it's going to set up for maybe another top 10 matchup or really close to another top 10 matchup for Georgia, this time on the road. Maybe it's me hoping that because I want to see that game mean something. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a great game.
I was really impressed by Missouri last week. Like, I think they're a really damn good team.
I think that saying that Tennessee is just I don't think that Tennessee is by far and away a more talented team than Missouri. I mean, Missouri's been recruiting the hell out of
positions.
I agree 100%. And even without Luther Burden, I'd go even inside too. Missouri's been recruiting the hell out of the trend. I think Missouri's a good football team. They are a very good football team.
Larson, I've still thought about it. I've been harboring this little bit of angst towards you for talking me out of Missouri. Because remember we did the SEC preview, and I was like, I kind of like Missouri, and I don't know why. And you kind of talked me out, but it's okay. I mean,
I said they were what? It's like 6-6 at least each of the last 3 seasons.
It was 6-6. Well, yeah, if you count the season totals, 6-7 the past 2 years, and of course this is the year they want to wake up. I just kind of had a little feeling about them, and here they come.
It worked. It cancels out your West Virginia before
that
the
is
season kind of.
What sucks the most about this is Drinkowitz had the biggest target on his back of just everybody hating him. And then he comes out and has a really good season.
Look, the problem is with Eli Drinkowitz is he has a stupid face, and it's hard. You can't fix that. He has a stupid face objectively. Like he has like them big old horse teeth, and he's always kind of got his mouth open. He's got a double chin. He's just a goofy looking dude. Like he can't help that.
FIU and Middle Tennessee. All right, this is one of the rattiest lines you'll see. Oklahoma State, like I said last week, I predicted them to beat Oklahoma. They do beat that. Oklahoma State has been a wagon, but now they go on the road after that Oklahoma win, huge win against 4-5 UCF, and they're only 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, that was one of my best wins from last week. I did have Oklahoma State on the money line. Bedlam, baby. That's all I got to say. That game should have been at night. But I'm glad that Oklahoma State won. I'm glad they got the last one over Oklahoma too. As Oklahoma's leaving the Big 12, I like them leaving that taste in their mouth. Big pause. One of the most disappointing win totals I did have this year though was UCF. I think that's officially dead. Actually, no, it's not. They'd have to win out. So I guess I'm going for UCF in this one.
I'm gonna go with the Pokes though. I know it's a wrap, but I think they're a significantly better team. I think they played fantastic. I think a lot of people are expecting a letdown. But Oklahoma State wins out. They're in the Big 12 championship. They're playing for stuff. They're a better team than UCF. And listen, UCF gave Oklahoma all they can handle on the road. So
yeah,
if you're playing the transitive property game, it's not like UCF can't give them a game. I'm just going with Gundy. It seems like Oklahoma State does this a lot. Like they lose early, come alive late, and then they're really good at the end of the season, but it's not enough to really get into the playoff. I just think I like them. I think they're playing good football. I think I'm going to ride the train. I've been riding it.
Larson, before you go, because I want you to make your point. That's a great point, too, because you talk about sleepy spots. How much of a sleepy spot can you have for a team that got their ass kicked at home by South Alabama 33-7? I don't think they're allowed to fall asleep for the rest of the year. So I don't think they're going to be sleepy for the rest of the year. But Larson, go ahead. Yeah.
I do think, it's easy to say that this is a letdown spot, on paper. I hate going against Gundy in a spot like this because he's one of those guys. I think he just gets his team ready no matter what. This is probably the highest point in the market you're going to get with Oklahoma State. And it's probably one of the lower points you're going to get with UCF because they lost a lot of games when they didn't have Plumlee. But he's been back the last few weeks and has actually looked really good. The offense has looked a lot better since he's come back. A little interesting nugget, this win streak that Oklahoma State has. Opponents are 1 for 12 on fourth downs, and Oklahoma State is +8 in turnovers. There's been a little tiny luck factor here.
It's like USC last year.
And they're getting a lot of short fields. They've had a lot of defensive touchdowns. Like the things that really swing these games have all gone Oklahoma State's way. I just wonder with UCF looking a little healthier and with Plumlee back and Oklahoma State as high as you're going to get, with them, I feel like it might be the right time to take UCF, or Oklahoma State comes out and they win by 21.
Yeah, Larson, just to argue with you, I could just turn that around and spin it and say they're doing the little things. They're doing the little things the right way.
And Gundy.
Magic might be on the night side. That bullshit Gus Malzahn always did at Auburn. So always just came and bit teams in the ass late in the season. Maybe he's got it at UCF. I don't know. Gus Malzahn's such a rat. Though.
It's a short line. It's a weird, immediately the line tells you something's off there too. So we'll see.
Texas State and Coastal Carolina.
Coastal being 7-2 against the spread is shocking. If you had asked me, I'd say 2-7, but
Pitt and Syracuse. Oh my God, what a matchup!
Oh my God, yeah.
UAB and Navy. Here we go, Jake. You're gonna love this one. Rutgers. And
I know. I'm gonna talk about it. I have the under. I've taken it the last 2 weeks.
I'll take it too.
Look, it's been a record the last 2 weeks, the lowest under ever, and it hasn't come close. It was 10-7 at 32 points. I don't think they can set these properly. We talk about it with USC overs and LSU overs. Yeah, a few of them might not hit. I don't think they can set them low enough, because there's always a chance of a special teams touchdown or something. But for the most part, that's not going to happen. I'm taking it. 28.5. I'm going to keep going until it doesn't work because it's worked every other week.
They have not come close, like you said. They have not come
17
close.
points, man. They could have doubled it, and they barely would have hit the over. Barely. Come on. And then Rutgers last week with their offense, without that fumble Ruski, that was a large portion of their points. They weren't finishing drives. They weren't.
That's a hilarious move, though. That is a hilarious move. When I saw highlights of that, I was jumping out of my seat. I love Greg Schiano. I fucking love that guy.
He's the best, isn't he?
I might bet Rutgers. Iowa's just been a weird team this year. Rutgers has still been solid against the spread. They covered against Ohio State. So I will probably – they didn't?
Ohio State covered.
No, Ohio State.
No, dude. Yeah, depending on what number you got.
Point.
Oh, I had him at 20.5.
They covered in the last fucking. I was sweating that one.
All right. Well, anyways, I'm still taking the under. Sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Florida State and Miami.
Is that too many points for a rivalry game? I'm not I don't know. I can't justify it. There's something weird about Florida State. I'm just not buying them.
Here's the problem is, you're looking at the Florida State side of this. You need to look at the Miami side of this because they're a team that'll just show up and let the other team rub their fucking belly for 2 hours and won't even put up a fight.
They've been so bad. They've been so underwhelming.
They do all the time, man. I did it. They did it against North Carolina, and I called it. They just quit. They fucking quit.
All right, what the hell? That was hilarious.
There's some backdoor potential here, at least. come on, can Miami's going to get?
I do agree. It's a lot of points. I agree.
I have some thoughts on this. Fun fact for Larson: when Republicans are in office, Miami's 70 games above 500. When Democrats are in office, it's the opposite. And Democrats in office, so I don't know.
That's a stat.
But realistically, have you guys watched Miami recently? Tyler Van Dyke sucks. He stinks. We were talking about him as a potential NFL prospect, and he's they're talking about benching him in Miami. And Florida State, I know that, I guess the stories have just kind of faded, but they beat what I still think is a good Clemson team, which we were all over Clemson, but Clemson probably should have won that game. Good. But they beat LSU team pretty good in the second half. They look dominant. They're a well-rounded football team. They've got talent on both sides of the ball, NFL talent on both sides of the ball. And listen, they're still they won a spot in the college football playoff. They've got everything to lose. They know this isn't one of those rivalry games like I was talking about Georgia, Florida. Georgia knew how important that game was for Florida. It was Florida's Super Bowl, and they come out and got their asses whacked. I think the same exact thing happens this weekend for Florida State. 13.5. And if it keeps going down, I'm going to begrudgingly keep buying more. I'm going to keep buying more.
I don't understand the Florida State hate. They've literally pretty much dominated everyone they played.
The only slip up they had was Boston College, and that was a perfect storm. They didn't have Johnny Wilson or Keon Coleman, one of those wide receivers. I don't remember. And that was Boston College. You want to talk about Super Bowls? That was the Wells game, the 9/11 game.
Playing in this game?
Who?
Is he good?
As far as I know.
Coleman.
And Johnny Wilson. I know they both exited at some point during Pitt.
I still love them.
I have no recollection of Florida State winning 45-3 last year. I don't remember that at all. But
Miami's just not a very good football team. And Tyler
Miami lost to Middle Tennessee State last year, so people just kind of stopped paying attention to them.
Western Kentucky, New Mexico State, Northwestern and Wisconsin.
No.
Washington State and Cal. Some ugly games here. Eastern Carolina and FAU. Auburn at Arkansas. A battle between two teams trying to make a bowl game.
You never know what you're gonna. You never know what you're gonna get with Arkansas. No thanks.
I mean, they got to win out.
They got to win out. Arkansas is just sneaky good. Like when their back is against the wall, the absolute brink, they win. They come through.
Well, the problem is I don't think their back's against the wall. They're favored. Like Mississippi State, they were favored.
Well, but I mean, like in terms of you got to win the rest of your games to make a bowl, just to finish 6-6. Like they'll come out and be like, well, let's do it.
I think Arkansas is 10 times better than Auburn. Like I don't even think this is a close match.
I think this game's gonna stink like shit. How about that?
I'm gonna take the Pigs. -2.5. Give me the Pigs.
Need a name for the bets we take and just never watch it. Have no intention of watching the game at all. Maybe you check the ESPN score.
I don't have those. Like I will throw on the grossest games if I have a little bit of money on it. I really will. I don't know if I'm weird for that. Like
you're a pervert.
I don't even know. Like
Cincinnati. That's a guy who wears college football shirts. That's
exactly.
Who that is.
Cincinnati, Miami, Ohio earlier in the season was like on the computer. Like I was watching it at least. Like I will find ways to watch these games.
Arkansas State and South Alabama. What a fall from grace for South Alabama.
Seriously.
Stanford and Oregon State.
All of a sudden, we're sweating out Stanford under 3 wins. How did we get here? How the hell did we get here?
Man. I don't know.
I feel like 20.5 is way too many points for Oregon State.
I hope not. I hope they fucking kill them.
Ole Miss and Georgia.
I'm done. Okay, one of y'all hit me with a fucking hammer upside the head next time I say I'm betting Georgia, please.
I would take Ole Miss like first quarter here, like first quarter plus 3.5.
First quarter bets have just got with the new clock rules. I feel like in the first quarter now, you have to get get the ball first to cover.
I mean, we didn't. What was the first quarter score for Georgia last week? Wasn't it? We were losing, weren't we? Wasn't it 7-3?
It may have been 7-3. Yeah, or it may have been 3-0.
We're slow in first quarters. I would take Ole Miss first quarter.
So nothing on the big game. I'm not touching Georgia.
Go ahead, Chase.
I'm not touching them.
I think Ole Miss could have a little. I said it last week, and it didn't happen that way. I thought Missouri could have a backdoor cover on Georgia, and I think that Ole Miss could have a similar backdoor cover. I'm going to wait to see if the line does anything else. It was started at 11. That's at 10.5. I hope it goes back up to 11. But I think the over here is the play. I know that Beck didn't have his best game against Missouri, but he still is so talented.
I thought he was good.
Potential Brock Bowers comes back game. I mean, this Georgia offense could put up points. Ole Miss defense fucking sucks too. And Ole Miss's offense, Jackson Dart's they got wide receiver and running back who can play in the league. Jackson Dart's been playing good. And Lane Kiffin's the kind of guy that's going to pull out all the stops. Fake punts, fake field goals, fourth down, all the stops to win this football game because their playoff lives are on the line right here. So I love the over 50.
I will say, the problem if you do bet Ole Miss, anybody listening to this, like the 8 of you who tune into this show, if you bet Ole Miss, just be prepared because Lane Kiffin's going to do something fucking stupid. He's going to go for it on fourth down on his own 27 or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he's going to blow your. He's done it to me plenty of times.
I don't think the fact that Lane Kiffin pulling out all the stops is necessarily an advantage for Ole Miss. I actually think it's a bit because there's not a single fucking person that doesn't know that's coming, bro. Like. You're not fooling any. Like it would be one thing if Brian Kelly does it because no one sees it's coming, right? But like Lane Kiffin does it so much in every big game that it's like, yeah, we prepared for this all fucking week. Like we knew you're gonna fake a punt, dipshit. Like what?
Remember that was the game that I remember always too. Remember that year they ran the kickoff back against Alabama and then they went up 7-0 and then they lost 66-7.
Even if Georgia just waxes them, puts up 40 points. You don't think? You know what I'm saying? Like Ole Miss will still put up 20 over. Like I think.
No, I don't think the over is a bad play. Yeah, I think the over is a fine play. Houston and Cincinnati.
Gross.
San Diego State and Colorado State. Even grosser.
Also gross.
Gross.
West Virginia and Oklahoma. I'm gonna take West Virginia here. I wouldn't be surprised if they won this.
It does.
I have no faith in Oklahoma. To me, they're a 3, maybe 4 loss team. Wouldn't be surprised if they lost another game to end this season. So
Neil Brown going from the hottest seat in college football to if he beats Oklahoma, he'll have a job for
contending for the Big 12 championship. What a turn!
Yeah,
Plus, I mean, what does Oklahoma really have to play for? They don't even control their own destiny in the Big 12, and
Pride. Brent Venables Brent Venables is not a soft guy. Like,
I was never wrong about Oklahoma. I was just early.
Yeah, I was never wrong about Venables. He's going to get fired next year.
Yeah. You're such a dickhead, dude.
Georgia Southern and Marshall.
I think Georgia Southern's the right play here, but I'm not playing them after that fucking shit they pulled against Wisconsin.
Marshall is in free fall mode right now.
Yeah, they're not good.
Rice and Utah State, UTSA.
I need UTSA to win out so
Come on.
badly.
Come on.
I need them to win out so badly.
Texas A&M and Mississippi State.
I'm not betting A&M anymore.
Okay,
I told you A&M's banned. You guys didn't believe me.
I need y'all
They
to tell me
pushed.
off
We
the
put.
ledge.
I mean, a push is, I guess, a win. I don't know.
I mean, it's not a loss, which in gambling is a win.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't bet. I should not bet A&M here, is what you're saying.
No, I mean,
They're
I do
banned.
it. They should.
I think A&M should. Yeah, I mean, they should wax them. But like,
I'm in favor of the fade Mississippi State team against every SEC.
They
team.
can't score. They cannot score.
Yeah.
3 points, 13 points, 7 points. That's their last 3 games.
Yeah.
They can't score.
and
they're not
A&M's
gonna,
defense
they're
is
not,
nasty.
They're not going to score on. I mean, dude, they couldn't even score against LSU. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how bad this team is.
That's
Zach
how you
Arnett is just a placeholder. I mean, if
Yeah.
you go look at the salaries in the SEC, it's hilarious. I mean, he's so far below everybody, and it's for a reason. He's a damn placeholder. But yeah, I do think. Well, the interesting thing is Jimbo's job is reportedly just safe. I mean, he's getting 2024 at least. So like, how that affects the rest of this season in terms of betting, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't.
I do have Mississippi. I do have Mississippi State.
That may be the fucking rumor, but if you play a close game with Mississippi State, that rumor may be.
I was just about to
It's
say.
contingent on beating Mississippi State's ass.
Yeah,
I guess
like,
that's
you may not have to beat LSU at the end of the season, but you got to beat Mississippi State now.
They play
I will
Abilene
say-
Christian next week. Is this just an all eggs in the basket off of a loss? Let's just, for the boosters, for the fans, just kill them.
I will say I do have the Mississippi State team total or win total under, and it would be very Texas A&M to just fuck me in a week that I don't bet them and lose this game.
That's got to be
That's
what?
4.5?
6.5, 5.5. What is it?
5.5.
Okay.
Well, you're good.
Yeah, I think you're good. I think you could.
No, these fucking assholes will win the Egg Bowl because they've won it like 3 years in a row. Anyways, keep going.
God, that would be hilarious. That would be the funniest Lane Kiffin shit ever, especially if he beat Georgia or some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I don't think that would be very funny to me, but yeah.
No, it wouldn't
But
be.
yeah.
But if your team doesn't matter anymore, my season's over. I'm just kind of rooting for chaos, I guess.
I'm rooting for chaos and pain. I want to see.
If I hurt, you have to hurt.
I want to see surrender cobras. I want to see what the fuck just happens. That's what I want to see on every fucking screen every game the rest of the year.
That's
If
me
you're
every
happy
week when I
right
check
now.
my
I want
walks
pain.
record.
I want to see pain in your eyes. Ohio State and Michigan State.
I have Ohio State in this game. Michigan State fucking sucks. That's all I got. They're bad. They're just bad. They're just bad.
Michigan State might not score a point.
Yeah, their team total under could definitely be a play here.
I just don't know if Ohio State can score 31, but they might win this game 33-0.
They legitimately, like 34-0, I think is in the cards.
Yeah, I don't think Michigan State scores.
It's going to be 34-3, and I'm going to get fucked. Watch this.
Texas and TCU. Any chance TCU pulls it off?
I think there's a decent chance. I mean, they're just playing spoiler at this point.
Yeah.
That atmosphere will be wild. I know they're 4-5, but talk about a team Super Bowl. Oh wow, LSU and Florida. Let me tell you what I'm going to bet: the over 63.5.
I took the over as well.
I mean, dude, it doesn't matter how high it is because someone will sit here and try to explain to me, like, dude, Florida's offense like isn't that good. Like, look what they did against Georgia, and I'm going to be like, dude, I do not give a living fuck.
Shut up.
I mean, Florida still they scored what 21 against us, like 19.
That equates to like 45 against LSU. Like if you were doing transit.
I do think LSU minus 13.5 is the right play. I don't think LSU like. Here's the thing. Jaden Daniels returned to practice today, which means he cleared concussion protocols, which means he is going to play. And if you're talking about things to play for in this season, like you have a guy in Jaden Daniels who, if he goes out there and has a huge performance against Florida and a huge performance against Texas A&M, he will probably be the favorite for the Heisman. I don't care that they went 9-3. And you also have a guy in Malik Neighbors who's playing for the Blitnikoff. Like they're going to go out there and play. Like there's not going to be any sitting out. Like they're going to, and they hate fucking Florida. And that place will be rocking at night against Florida. I don't care if LSU's out of it. Like you lick your wounds for a week. I'm already ready to beat the fuck out of Florida. Like I hate, that we're out of it in terms of college football playoffs. But it comes back quick. By the end of the week, like I'm going to be yelling F Florida to anyone that'll listen.
Yeah, I everything you just said is so true. I mean, this is a rivalry game. We fucking hate those guys. They hate us. I do love. I mean, LSU 13.5. This is similar how I felt Georgia, Florida. That Florida's just not a very good football team. I really don't. I mean, they're not a good football team. Napier's not getting fired though, by the way. And LSU does have a lot to play for. I mean, I just have a hard time believing that Brian Kelly's going to fuck up like he did last year against A&M. Like, I think he's learned his lesson. Don't overlook anybody, regardless if you have something to play for. It doesn't fucking matter.
LSU's won 4 in a row against Florida.
Yeah,
apparently, and LSU's been the underdog in 3 straight. I find that's just kind of surprising. But
is that true? We were favorites last year.
This says LSU was plus 2.5 last year.
I think it was. We were coming off a bad loss to Tennessee. An embarrassing loss to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Then went into Gainesville and ripped them.
But then the year prior, I mean, just spoiler. I fucking love that. I was just absolutely.
I was at that game, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna get fucking smacked, but we ended up winning.
That was Marco Wilson, the shoe game.
The shoe game, yeah,
fucking legendary.
No, that was 2020.
That was the COVID.
Yeah, 2020.
I'm talking about 2021.
Kyle Pitts. That was that Kyle Pitts. Kyle
Trask.
Kyle Trask. That offense.
They gave Bama a run for their money. They gave Bama the only decent game they played in that entire season.
Yeah, there was like 100 points. It was like 53 to like 49 or something.
That was just sick.
Well, you couldn't even see the ball go through the uprights for the game-winning field goal because it was so
scary.
Foggy. I was like, I don't even. Did it go in? Did it go in? I don't know. That was hilarious. All right, UNC and Duke, great basketball.
I think this might be too many points. UNC's defense is really fucking bad. Really bad.
So from a market perspective, Duke is getting all of the public, which makes sense because everyone's talking about how UNC sucks. And this has gone from like 12 to 14.5.
Yep.
Why? So they love UNC. I don't know if I can get there. I just don't want to put my money on North Carolina. I don't trust them.
Here's the thing.
Duke's a very good football team.
Yeah, I'm also just not watching this game. We play at 7. So I'm not fucking watching Duke in North Carolina. So I don't care. They can do whatever. I'm not placing this.
UCLA and Arizona State. Arizona State, you're banned, even though I do like them this week.
Best 2-7 team in the country.
They're banned. I like them this week, but they're banned from locks.
That's probably
that Beth. Yeah. That's that Beth Dutton line from Yellowstone. I love you, but fuck you.
Boise State, New Mexico, disgusting.
Yeah.
Barf.
Iowa State and BYU, disgusting.
Barf.
How can you ever bet Iowa State ever again?
If Fresno State and San Jose State.
Beware. This is what you got, an 8-1 Fresno State team minus 1.5 against San Jose State. I don't know about that one.
Fishy.
That is fishy.
And we got Oregon and USC.
I got Oregon minus 14.5. USC is pussy. I'm putting the pussy on them. That's their soft.
Chase, are you going to have a bet in this game? What's your bet in this game?
Well, I am going to have the bet. You know the bet. It's over 73.5. I'm also going to take Oregon minus 14.5. They'll put up 50 in this game. I mean,
they're gonna. I feel like
for 24, he can do that.
I feel like Dan Lanning is like a throwback football coach. I feel like he hates Lincoln Riley and he's just going to try to rub his nose in it. I feel like he hates USC.
This Oregon defense is comparable to Notre Dame's defense, and I know the weather played a factor in that. I don't know what it's going to be like this weekend, but I love Oregon. I mean, I think they're going to win out. They're going to make a college football playoff spot, and this is another team that's got to have that in their head where it's like, not only do we have to win out, but we have to convince the committee that we beat the shit out of these teams, that we beat, everybody thought at the beginning of the year USC was going to cakewalk to the playoff. No, and I know perspectives have changed, but Oregon's got something on the line in terms of how do we look to others? So I really think, to Jake's point, that Dan Lanning's got the boys fired up. I mean, he is, Kirby Smart's tree. He's coaches a similar brand of football, and soft. USC, Lincoln Riley, soft. I mean, they don't. I mean, maybe the firing of Alex Grinch does something. I highly doubt it, though.
They got a bunch of puppies on that defense. They ain't got no damn dogs.
Oregon,
got no dogs on that defense.
Oregon team total is 44.5 for those interested.
I love that.
So you think, So what? Yeah, you need USC to score 20.
Yeah, I mean, I think Oregon scores over 50, so I need 24. 24 from USC. They'll give us that.
I think it's like a 50-31 game or something like that. That's what I think.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we saw, I think Washington and USC's offenses are comparable. Like Washington was able to score 36. If USC scored 30 plus, wouldn't surprise me. I still think they cover because I think Oregon will score 50 plus.
Yeah, I agree.
USC's been a little turnover prone recently too. A little turnover happy.
Caleb Williams has 30 fumbles over the last 3 years. That's actually kind of crazy.
Caleb Williams he's obviously still the number 1 overall pick, and people are going to start swaying away from it. Yeah, I mean, this is the same conversation we have every year with, like, you know, the Joe Burrow, Tua, that bullshit. He's still the number 1 overall pick, but he is kind of like, it feels like he's getting in his head, or like just maybe not confident as he used to be, and maybe that's because they're losing. I don't know. The whole crying and jumping in the stands thing was weird.
It was weird. Let's wrap this show up though. Air Force in Hawaii. Anyone got something?
No.
Air Force with a loss. Tough
Maybe
loss.
so sad. So sad.
Tough loss for the boys. All right, that wraps up our show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's win some goddamn money.